Okay, so once again, welcome, Mr. Hanss Jørgen Wiberg. It's such an honor to have you. Um, so, would you like to perhaps start by introducing yourself, your professional experience, your passions and aspirations?
Well, sorry, I do have a little. Um, yeah, my name is Hanss, and I'm from Denmark, and I'm 58 years old now, and I am visually impaired. I have retinitis pigmentosa, which is a eye disease where your vision gets more and more narrow. And as it is right now, I have 1 or 2 degrees of central vision left. So I'm pretty much almost blind, but not quite. So, and I have been doing a lot of things in my life. I was in the beginning, I thought I should become a farmer, take over my parents' farm. But then at some point, I realized that I had this eye disease, and then I went back to school, and I ended up working for the Danish Blind Federation. And in that period, I met a lot of blind people, and then one day I came up with this idea about Be My Eyes, and I'm not a tech person myself, but I realized that maybe we can help blind people all over the world, and not only in Denmark. And I was pretty excited about this, but also kind of very naive about it, because I had no idea how to make an app or anything. So, so that's kind of how it started, you can say. So.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you so much. You did speak about how you started off with Daily Blind, and how that was kind of your beginning point, and how that kind of through that you met many other blind people, and how that was perhaps your first stepping point into your whole venture with Be My Eyes. So could you tell me, obviously Be My Eyes is so revolutionary in its unique aspect of how it connects, how it helps visually impaired people from all over the world, and it's actually such a quick process and such an easy process. Would you like to tell me more about the original inspiration in details about what are some of the things you saw around that really resonated with your experience, and then you thought maybe this is the time to start Be My Eyes?
Well, yeah, it's you see, my job at the Danish Blind Federation was to visit blind people or low vision people in their home and telling them about audiobooks and white canes and all that. And then, of course, I also met some of the more tech-savvy younger blind persons, and some of those people were, I mean, we are back in 2012 when I came up with this idea, and some of these people were also using their iPhone, and they were making Skype calls and FaceTime calls with their friends and family whenever they needed to see something, and there was nobody else in the house. So I kind of knew that whoa, that's pretty smart to do that. When you don't have a sighted person around you, then you can kind of get one anyway. And then one of my friends said, yeah, but I always have to call someone. I have to think about who to call. Is my sister at work, or can I call my brother now? Or oh, I called him yesterday, maybe I should not call him today, you know. And then I was thinking, well, it should be possible to make a group you can call, so you don't have to think about that. And again, as I said before, having no technology background, I was kind of thinking that cannot be that difficult. And little did I know about so that was the inspiration and kind of the starting point, that basically that people were already kind of doing it but we needed to do it in a smarter way. So
Okay. I really do resonate with your fact about, the lack of technological background. I myself have no experience. I know I'm still in high school, but really like that idea dawns me. But that was very inspiring, like how in spite of that, you did go ahead and build such a revolutionary app.
mm,
And yeah, perhaps branching out from that, like as your identity as a visually impaired person, what was your childhood like growing up? Maybe did you feel different growing up as a child? Were you excited or hopeful for the future, or were you not, like supported throughout the whole process growing up?
you see, when I grew up, I was not at all visually impaired. I had a little darkness, blindness, you can say. But I was driving the car and the tractors and all that. My grandmother was blind, so I knew about blindness, so in that sense, it was, of course, sad when I realized that I had the same eye condition. But I also kind of knew, okay, I know what that is, and I know how you can kind of cope with that. Of course, it is it's quite different when it is somebody else and it is yourself.
Yes, true, true.
But I really loved my grandmother, and she was living just 100 meters away from where I lived all my childhood, so we were very close, and so I was not kind of scared about it, and I won't say it was just a new challenge, but in a way it was also because when I realized I had this eye disease, nothing changed from day to day. It's super slow. I just had to start thinking about, okay, you cannot become a farmer, then what? So and my entire childhood was about the life on my parents' farm, and that was wonderful. But in that sense, I didn't have. I do have a little hearing loss as well, which I had from I was 5 years old. So basically, the hearing. The hard of hearing thing was my handicap for the first 25 years of my life, and then on top of that, I got this eye disease. It is the same disease, really, but it showed up as a little loss of hearing before the sight was infected. So.
Okay. Oh wow, that was very interesting. Like, very, very. I think inspiring to hear. Like, you didn't see, even though you did recognize that was a challenge, you didn't let it hold yourself back. And then, yeah, it's really true when you say that you don't really know what the other person is going through unless it happens to yourself. But still, you did take up, overcame that challenge and become resilient. That was very inspiring.
But
Yeah.
I will say that the fact that I knew my grandmother and knew exactly what she kind of had been through, that helped me a whole lot. I mean, if I had not known another blind person, I'm pretty sure I would have been pretty scared about it. But then and all my family said, "Oh, that's just like grandmother." Yeah, and you can do that
Yeah, yeah.
basically. And so I mean, it wasn't that scary. Of course, when you kind of really realize, oh boy, I'm going blind, then yeah, you have one of these days once in a while. But yeah, basically, it has been a good thing for me, absolutely, to have this role model in my family. So.
Wow. Okay, wow, that was great. I think so you did speak about how you did have a role model in your family, and that, like how you did feel supported throughout. Um, Perhaps could you like tell me more about like how would you like give some advices to people who do not have that role model in their lives, to those visually impaired, maybe children growing up who are discovering that that impairment inside them, and maybe like how you would give them advice to become more empowered to overcome that barrier.
Well, I think it's super complicated, but it's also super simple. I believe that 99% of people, they will benefit tremendously from being together with other people with low vision or blindness, because you can learn so much from people who have been there themselves, and so being in a blind community is so important. You should also not be there all the time, and not only be in the blind community. So make sure that you stay close to your good old friends and so on, but absolutely also be part of the local or national blind community. That would be my number one advice. Absolutely.
Okay, that's interesting, actually, come to think about it. Okay. I guess the other thing is, another question branching out from that is, what are some common misconceptions and stereotypes perhaps you have faced while growing up, or what you have witnessed yourself as a visually impaired person, and how did it impact you? In the sense, like, I guess there's so many misconceptions regarding terms like blind, visually impaired, legally blind, partially sighted, and all these terms. So what do you think, these stereotypes and misconceptions, did it affect you, and how can it affect the other visually impaired people?
Well, there is this thing, sorry, that you called ableism, and it's basically that the surroundings have very low expectations of what you as a blind or low vision person can do. The chairman of the blind people in Denmark, he was interviewed, and together with his wife, and his wife just told that she was kind of irritated that she has found this wonderful guy with an international job and a wonderful career, and when she kind of presented him to her friends and so on, they didn't know anything about blind person. So how can he pour his own coffee, and and he was what and so and it's, I don't, it doesn't affect me that much, but a lot of blind people really get sad when they are met, when they are doing really good, and then people ask them if they can find the toilet by themselves, and how they eat their food, and all that. So and that is just so annoying, and so yeah, this. Please, please realize that we can actually do things. We also need a pair of eyes once in a while, or a hand to cross the street or something like that. Absolutely. But most things we can do pretty good. So, yeah.
That was great. I think really, like, this term disability is also kind of like a problem, like people think about disabled people as if they're not normal people, but actually that's so not true. Like, you should not create that kind of misconception that, disabled people, or really that term itself, it's so problematic. Like, they are not less than us in any other way, really. But that was so inspiring. I think stemming off that, what advice would you give to people who are not visually impaired, so that they can support visually impaired people in their community in any other way?
Well, don't be afraid of kind of approaching a blind person, but also be super respectful about maybe they don't need or they don't want your help right now, or and maybe you think, oh, it looks like this guy is in some kind of doubt or something, but maybe he's just taking a little time, and he really wants to do this himself. But it is absolutely okay to ask, to say, I'm crossing the street now. Well, would you like to join me across the street? And then the blind person can say yes or no, and absolutely respect this yes or no. But don't be afraid, and don't just walk past if you see something that looks like people are really in some kind of trouble finding something, or simply just ask, do you need help? Yes or no. So that would be my main advice. Don't be afraid, but don't be pushy. Don't just grab a person and say, now the light is green, let's go. You have to be really respectful about other people's what they want. Absolutely.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, thank you so much. So I think now I would definitely like to talk about your initiative with Be My Eyes. I think like just like a brief background on Be My Eyes for maybe like the viewers will be listening later. So you presented this idea at a Danish startup event in April 2012, where you got connected with the team to make Be My Eyes a reality. And in Jan 15th, 2015, the Be My Eyes app was released for iOS. And what's very interesting is that within 24 hours, the app had more than 10,000 users, which actually shows that how your app did bridge that huge gap that was there for visually impaired. And as of December 2017, Be My Eyes has also won many allocates, which is so inspiring to see. You are being recognized for the arguably noble work that you're doing. But would you like to speak maybe about what these achievements mean to you personally?
Well, it's we have been blessed with a number of awards, and it is it's an amazing feeling that when people, they recognize what you are doing, and sometimes they even throw a party where you can go, and you because sometimes it can be kind of a little, I won't say lonely, but you are at your office and you're working with this, and then all kind of big and small issues turns up, but then once in a while somebody says, hey, you're a great guy, I want to give you an award for that, and you have a great team and I want to award the whole team, and that is just that's just amazing. I mean, we have the latest awards we have gotten was the Apple Design Award, which is a pretty big deal among the developers, and also for me personally, I think that the biggest one was, there was two. One is an award you might not know about. It's the Bulletin Award, given by the National Federation for the Blind in the US, which is a big deal in the blind community. And the other one was the Helen Keller Award, which I think is an amazing award to get as a app for blind people. So I'm super proud of that. So, and it does mean a lot to the team that not only the founder but also somebody else says that it's really good what we're doing and you are good at it. So it does mean a lot to get these recognitions. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's like, congratulations, Mr. Wiberg. That was
Thank
actually
you.
like what I've specifically watched on Be My Eyes YouTube channel, even volunteer experiences that I would be asking you next, like, like all the volunteer experiences, the testimonials on the YouTube channel as well is just so inspiring, like to see. And obviously, like all the allocates at Be My Eyes and you have won is just so well deserved. And really,
Thank you so much.
congratulations are in place for you. Um, so I think I'm interested in knowing. So Be My Eyes allows sighted helpers to guide the blind and the visually impaired, and this is a very unique aspect of Be My Eyes that specifically other apps have not really used, and that's what makes Be My Eyes stand out from the crowd. And I'm interested in knowing what's the business model behind maintaining the sustainability of this app.
Mm. I would like to. I just realized that we have not really talked about what we really do in Be My. So I'd like to kind of explain how the app works if you are a blind person, because let's say I am in my kitchen and I have this can of something. I don't know what it is, and I need to know what it is because it's very important what you put in the pot when you're cooking. And then I would take up my phone, and then I will launch Be My Eyes, and there will be two buttons. One of them will say call first available volunteer, and the other one will be specialized help.
Okay.
But I don't need any specialized help right now. I just need a volunteer to read what's the text on the can is. And then I press this button, and we send out a notification to 20 volunteers because we don't know what the volunteers are doing. Some is working, and some is driving, and some is sleeping, and so on. So, but we have found out that if you notify 20 people, most likely 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 of those 20 people will say yes. And the first one to do that will be connected in a live video call. And then let's say you are the volunteer, and then I point my phone at this can, and you will say, okay, please move the phone a little to the right, then on and a little bit closer, and then I can see, oh, that's tomato soup. Thank you so much. And then I will ask how is the weather in India, and how is the weather in Copenhagen, maybe, and then and that's it. So it is a super easy and convenient way to both get assistance for just maybe 20 seconds, and you can be a good person lying on your couch at home and volunteer from within your home, and you don't have to go someplace every Wednesday night to do some volunteer work or something. You can simply be a volunteer wherever you are. And that is the basic of it. And we connect people in 185 different languages. So you simply sign up, say, okay, I speak English, and maybe you speak Hindi or whatever other language, Japanese or Russian or something, and then we of course connect people based on language and also what country they live in. So that is the basics of My Eyes. The other button called specialized help, that is also our business model. Because if you are sitting with your computer as a blind person and the screen reader stops talking, then you can call a volunteer, but that volunteer will most likely not know anything about the programs that blind people are using. But then you can go into specialized help, and you can place a call directly to Microsoft, among a number of other companies. And then you will be routed directly to a person at Microsoft who actually knows about these programs. I mean, Microsoft, they have 100,000 employees, but they only have maybe 20 people that knows anything about being blind or what kind of issues blind people have with their computer. So and we can make sure that our Be My Eyes calls goes directly to these very few persons that actually knows about this. So it is way easier for the blind person to get support because they actually get to talk to someone who has answered the same question before, maybe, and at least know this is a blind person. So And Microsoft and the other companies, they are so happy about it, so they are willing to pay Be My Eyes a monthly subscription. Normally, I say that we help these companies help their blind customers, so they can have a way better customer support. And that's yeah. So, and that's also how we can keep Be My Eyes as a free app.
Okay.
Which is super important, because we know, and we realize that most blind people, no matter what country they live in, will most likely be in the low income area. And maybe they have a smartphone, and maybe they have access to the internet, but they cannot pay $10 a month or something for a service. So that's why we decided that Be My Eyes should be a free service to the users, and then we came up with this business model that's in order to keep it as a free service, but we still need income to pay the salary and the computers and all that. So that is the business model.
Okay, I think it's extraordinary how you've kept, since Be My Eye has been around for almost a decade, how you've still kept it as a free service. I think it's very important, because many services online, they do ask for subscriptions and pay subscription, as you said, but the fact that you have convinced big corporations like Microsoft into helping you is very inspiring, I think. And I think, would you like to talk about
the reason for this is that when I came up with this idea, and I met some of the team members, we simply looked at the numbers, and we could see that 90% of the blind people in this world, they live in Africa and in India, and in low I mean, India is countries. Maybe not low in income, but still, if you are a blind person in outside the big cities in India, you don't have that much money, most likely. So we simply and we also, because it's the volunteers who are kind of doing the work for us. So we realized that, whoa, we can actually do this for free, and then why shouldn't we? Because then we can help a lot more people if we can make it a free service. You still need to have not an iPhone, but an Android phone or something. And we totally realized that these phones are not cheap or anything, but it doesn't have to be the latest model or anything. But yeah, but we'll try to make it as cheap as possible.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I do think, yeah, even in, as you said, in low income countries, how your reach is really expanding to the real cause of helping these low income countries. Even in India, I would say, especially with the societal taboo against visually impaired people, they do not want to reach out to, perhaps, services to like support them through this journey, and really Be My Eyes is helping in bridging that. That was very interesting. Yeah.
And it's kind of funny on a psychological level. When I talk to our users, they say that they feel so much more independent when they are using Be My Eyes. But basically, they are doing the same thing. They are asking another person for help, but it feels totally different if you're asking your mother to help you, or if you are asking some completely stranger to help you. But basically, you're doing the same thing, but the feeling is totally different. Yes. And that's kind of a funny thing about this, and it just makes me so proud that people are feeling so much better when they are using Be My Eyes, and they can and now we get back to the ableism. They can prove to their mother that they can actually do things that think they could do.
Yeah.
Maybe with a little help from a friend, but still, I know that we are building up people's confidence and so on, and that's just totally amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But really, Mr. Wiberg, I mean, the way that you've not only empowered, visually impaired people to, become more independent and feel more strong in their abilities, but also you've really helped other people who are not visually impaired understand the situation of the visually impaired. I think that's just really connected all the dots. Really interesting. Yeah.
I often get emails from our volunteers who are super excited about that they have been able to help someone, and for many volunteers, many volunteers read about Be My Eyes on Facebook or Twitter or something, and then somebody is telling, I was helping this blind guy turning on his washing machine or something, and then they say, oh, I can do that. And then they sign up, and suddenly one day they get a call, and that is their very first real interaction with a blind person. And I know for sure that this has a tremendous impact on people. Suddenly they realize, oh, this washing machine is not accessible. How can that be? And shouldn't these companies make their equipment more accessible to everybody? And suddenly, and they have never thought about this before, suddenly they see the world differently, and they become a part of our military to raise awareness about all things about blindness, and that's just an amazing thing that suddenly, just because you help someone, you start realizing things about things that you have never thought about before. So.
Okay, yeah, that's very inspiring. I think you also spoke about how you get emails from volunteers speaking about how they feel so good helping, visually impaired a person all across the world, perhaps. And maybe what are some of your most memorable experiences or stories that you have heard of, which really made your day?
Well, I have this kind of wonderful story about a lady in Washington. She was blind, and she was singing in a choir, and she needed to go to this concert, and she wanted to make absolutely sure that she had her black shoes on, because that was kind of a requirement, and she was using Be My Eyes to make sure that everything was in order. And the volunteer was from Ireland, and this lady from Washington made this Be My Eyes call and said, "Can you help me find my black shoes, because I'm going to sing in my choir tonight?" "Oh, are you singing in a choir? I'm also singing in a choir," this lady from Ireland said. And then they forgot all about the black shoes and started to talk about, what are you singing and what are we singing? And then the funny thing was, the lady in Ireland, she was actually with her choir. They were just having a break, and she got this Be My Eyes call. And then she said, "Would you like to hear our choir sing for you?" And suddenly it was a international concert. So this is, of course, not a usual call, but it just things like these happen sometimes. Another time it was a mechanic in the US who was retired and had gone blind, and he made a call about something, and then they got into a conversation, and this the volunteer was complaining about her car, and then he was kind of, oh, maybe I can help you. And then she went out to the car, and then please do something, and they got the car to start again. And he was so suddenly he was the one helping the other person. and he sent me this email about it, and I was pretty excited about that. So we do get these kind of a little odd and funny stories once in a while. So most calls is super short calls about, have I set my oven to 200 degrees? Yes, you have. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. And but sometimes it is a more special call, you can say. So.
I do remember reading one Be My Eye story about how the Be My Eye one volunteer was supposed to help a person, or a visually impaired person, with his laptop, but then the volunteer himself had some problems with his laptop, and it was the visually impaired person who in turn started to help the volunteer himself. So I think that was very interesting, like, like how it happened the other way around. But yeah, I hope the two ladies are in contact still. It will be very interesting. Wow.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that was great. I think these the stories that you shared really shows how Be My Eyes has gone just beyond the millions of numbers that they've reached, but actually reached the millions of hearts of people, and they've made such a tremendous global impact. And I wonder what is the impact, what is the impact that it has made in your personal life, in the sense, what are some life lessons that you have learned through this journey with Be My Eyes? How has it changed you as a person, perhaps?
Well, it has been a tremendous gift for me. I have kind of become Mr. Be My Eyes, and when I'm out and about, and people they get to know that about the Be My Eyes and so on, everybody kind of agrees on that we are doing something good, and so it has impacted me very much. But also I'm totally humble about this, because I would never have been able to do this on my own. It's only because I have an amazing team that actually knows what they are doing, and so it is a teamwork to get something like this up and running. Normally I joke about that I get the credit and they get the work, and there's some truth to it, because they are really working hard to make this. It's not easy to make it into a real sustainable business. So that has taken a lot of hard work to do that.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Wiberg. Yeah, I do believe that your staff are still very excited to be with you. I think they are getting recognition. I think, like, it's just like I'm myself very excited to join Be My Eyes once I turn 18 years old. I think I've heard many stories, just waiting for the 18. Just waiting to be 18 and then I'll start. I think so. I know people do see the impact that Be My Eyes has made, and all these beautiful stories of impact that you have made through Be My Eyes. But then there's so much behind the scenes, right? So, like, what are the challenges and hurdles that you have faced in this journey? I know you did speak about how you did not have a technological background. Maybe what are the other hurdles you've perhaps faced?
Well, sorry. The main challenge is to get the business part up and running. That is the main challenge we have. And of course, I mean, we are super proud of our numbers. We have 375,000 blind and low vision people all over the world. But we also know that according to UN, there is 37 million totally blind persons, and then there's another 200 million low vision person. So in that sense, we have not been that successful. So we think it's a lot of people, but in reality, it's a very low number. And we would really like to see our number of users grow dramatically, but it's also a challenge to reach those people, because many of the blind people, they don't really follow the news, and maybe they are not on Facebook or Twitter or anything. So it is only if some of their relatives comes back and say, "Oh, I heard about this app." So one of our challenges is to kind of raise awareness among blind people about Be My Eyes, and of course, I cannot understand that, because I believe everybody has heard about Be My Eyes, but the world is tremendously big, and people are doing other things than reading about Be My Eyes. So we have a giant work to do in spreading awareness about Be My Eyes and blindness in general, and also a lot of people who could benefit from Be My Eyes maybe haven't totally accepted that they are low vision or maybe even blind. So there's a lot of things around that as well. But the more we talk about it and make it acceptable to be some sort of disabled person is super important. So it is on many fronts that we have to keep working, and especially making it absolutely well known and well received to have some kind of disability. It's kind of interesting, because throughout your life you will be disabled at some point. I mean, if you break your arm, you will be partly disabled. If you get pregnant, then you get some kind of disabled for a period of time. If you when you grow old and your hearing start to lose a little bit, you will be some kind of disabled, and all these people should realize that this is a normal thing, and it is something that everybody will most likely experience to some degree, and not stigmatize people with some kind of disability. But that's a long journey. But yeah, but this is also something that I very often talk about, that don't hide your disability. But I remember from myself when I realized, okay, I'm going blind, but I'm not at all blind right now. But then soon I realized, okay, it would actually be good if I had a white cane, because if you don't have a white cane and you bump into people, they will say, "Oh, are you drunk or something?" No, I'm not. I just didn't see you. I'm standing right here. And then, but if you have this white cane, it's a whole different. Then they jump aside and make room for you, and all. So it also, but it is something that you have to kind of realize and work with in your head. But it makes your life a lot easier when you realize your real situation. And that is something we as disabled, blind, low vision people, we have to help each other educate the rest of the world about this. And that's just super important.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Wiberg. I think really like what you spoke about, how, it's so important for us to understand, like generally, for humans, our limitations and our weaknesses, and not be afraid of asking for help, because really asking for help doesn't make you weak. It actually shows that you're strong enough to accept that you need help, and that is the right thing to do. But really, that was so beautiful, actually, and I do think you will reach more people. I think
we have a Danish philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard, and he, in a very beautiful place in his writings, he is talking about how you should be a helper. If you think you're going to help them, you should go and ask the person, would you allow me to help you? Because then you level yourself at the same level. And then this, I have experienced this myself, and I got to, what? Yes, of course you can help me. Oh, I'm so thankful about that. And I was, oh, that's a super nice way to do it. And because if you kind of approach someone and say, I can help you across the street, then you are kind of bigger than the other person. But if you say, it would make me so happy if you would allow me to help you cross the street, then suddenly you're kind of doing a favor to the other person just by letting him follow you across the street. And it's a small thing, but it makes a major difference in the whole situation there. So that is something I often think about. So.
Okay, yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah, I think really you all the things that you said about, like how you do think that Be My Eyes could reach more people, but I think already the work that you're doing, I think at least I believe, is just so impactful and just so helpful, and I do believe that you will be reaching many people soon. But then would you in which direction do you see Be My Eyes going? Maybe can we expect any new features or versions of the app? Maybe like can we are you planning to achieve more aims in the future, or maybe expand to more digital platforms other than iOS?
Our sorry, our main focus is to expand the user base and also expand the number of companies we have in specialized health. And we one of the things that we have the Ministry of Health in the UK. They are part of specialized health. So if you are a blind person in the UK and you need help with a COVID test or something, you can actually call the government directly using Be My Eyes. And I'm super excited about that. And we would love to do that in other countries as well, because the thing is that blind people who need to go into a website or something, that can be really troublesome. But the Be My Eyes app, they know exactly how it works. So it's super easy for blind people to navigate the app that they know. So adding a government phone number is really a piece of cake. So that is something we would love to have more governments be present on the Be My Eyes app. So.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's a very unique thing that I think Be My Eyes is planning. I think that's very interesting.
So if you have if you know any persons in the Indian government, please let me know.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I would love to have. Yeah, I think. I think the fact that you have really, Mr. Wiberg, you have pinpointed the fact that that there's so many people who have lack of accessibility to technology, because that is kind of like the basis of Be My Eyes. Like how that gap is still not filled. I think that's like the first step to which I do believe that you will overcome it. I think that's very inspiring. But I think from maybe like a personal question, I would like to ask, like, I do think like I did reach out to you through LinkedIn about how I was so inspired by your work, and how I myself got involved just recently with visually impaired children through like our organization, and how we are making STEM audiobooks and all. But really, this issue was something that we found out recently. Like, we were aware that visually impaired children or disabled youth were present, but then we weren't aware of the real picture of how it's they are so overlooked, especially in the Indian society. There's such a taboo. And really, what advice do you give to youth in specific, to the Gen Z, who are the future generations, to carry on the work that you are doing with Be My Eyes and other revolutionary visually impaired advocacy work, and how we can overcome that taboo of this conversations around visually impaired?
Well, if you are a blind young person, the far most important thing is to learn the blind skills, so you can be a really good blind person, being good at being blind. And of course, if you at all can get some kind of an education and all that, but the basic skills are very, very important, and learn to do your own cooking, and I mean, because it builds up self-confidence, and that is so important throughout your life. I mean, if you have a bad childhood, that will be part of you for the rest of your life. But if you really tell yourself, okay, I'm blind, but I can do this. I will show them that I can be just as successful person as anyone else. That will make your life a lot easier. It will still be troublesome, but that is the case for most people throughout their life. That there will be good days and bad days and so on. But if you as to your best ability become independent, that is such an important thing, and also you will be a more fun person to be together with. I mean, if you are a person that cannot go 2 feet away from your mother, then I mean, you will not get any friends. But if you are a funny, independent person, then you will be able to get friends, and also not blind friends, but friends among your schoolmates and so on. And that is just tremendously important. And if you are a parent and you have this blind child, make sure you have pretty much the same expectation to that child as you have to the sighted brother or the sighted sister. I mean, if you are blind, you can still do the dishes, and you can still clean the floor, and I mean, so be a little rough sometimes. Of course, you need to accommodate, but don't have the blind child sitting in the sofa doing nothing. There's absolutely no reason for that, and it is not a benefit to anyone. Make sure that your blind child is learning everything that is needed in the household. So I can ramble along.
No, it's so, I think for me personally, it's so enlightening to see your thought process. I mean, really, I think what you said about not differentiating between the children, like not necessarily that just because he or she is blind and the siblings are not, doesn't mean that they're any less or anything, but really that's so important. And perhaps, Mr. Weiberg, you will hear a story of a visually impaired children who will, maybe your ambition, your previous ambition of being a farmer, maybe you will hear a visually impaired child who has actually achieved that dream. And I really pray that, that makes you feel really good, hopefully. But yeah, that
Thank you
was
so much.
yes. But I'll stop the recording here. Thank you so much, Mr. Weiberg.